pretty fast.
Yes.
Oh, I only got like 2 wrong. That's good. Yeah, I only got 2 wrong. But I thought I definitely got more than that, so I'm impressed with my 2.
Yeah. I did that.
You got a shit. No. What?
All right, thanks. All right, so today we're gonna go on to the next section. And, today you're gonna have to remember things that we've learned early on, like vertical angles, linear pairs. You'll have to remember those types of things. So first of all, today what we're gonna be dealing with is angles inside of a circle and then what we call arcs. So an arc would be like this right here. And what they would do is they'd have letters on here. Okay. And you would see something like find the measure of arc AB, like that. And what that would mean is find when there's 2 letters, it's always going to be less than 180. So kids will ask me sometimes, like, how do I know if I do this part or this part? So if there's 2 letters, you do the shortest distance, okay? So that just means find this angle. And one big thing that we're gonna learn today is that the 3 angles inside of a circle are, do you know how many degrees? 360, okay? So if you knew angle 1 and 2 and you had to find angle 3, you could add and subtract from 360. And whatever this arc is what is, or I'm sorry, whatever this angle is what its inscribed arc, or not inscribed, its arc is, okay? So if this was, let's just say, 60 degrees, okay? This would be 60, and if this then was 180, which doesn't make sense, but that's okay. It's not a straight line, but we're gonna just, no, 160 it would be, sorry. Because these add up to 200, this would have to be 160, and then this would be 160, okay? So what this is telling us is just the angles inside of a circle are 360 degrees. So if we look at this and they ask us to find the value of x, notice that we know 4 of the 5 angles. When you don't know any of these and they have x's in there, you would have to know all of them to be able to solve that. You would add them all together and set them equal to 360. Does anyone see a different way that you could do this? Oh, yeah, good question. Like, could we just put an X there? We can't, okay? There's no way that we know anything about that unless if these 2 were vertical. But can you guys tell this line isn't quite straight? So these 2 aren't even vertical. Anyone see something else?
Like 20x plus t would equal 180.
Yep, that's true, but we don't know that one. Devin?
Part of B is the diameter of it, so it can split it in half, and all the stuff on the right side you add together up to be 180.
Yep, perfect. Do you guys get that? So this is the same thing that Lexi was saying. She said add these 2 together and set equal to 180. The only problem with the left side is we don't know that one. But like Devin said, on the right side, don't those make a line so you can add them together to be 180? So I can go 8x minus 4 plus 13x minus 3 plus 5x plus 5 equals what? Isn't it a straight line, so it's 180, right? Now, 8x plus 13x plus 5x is going to be 26x. And then we have negative 4 minus 3 plus 5. One thing I should have said when I was adding the x's together, some kids, when they're combining like terms, will like think, oh, but I have to subtract the 13x and bring it over here. That's only if the 13x is on the opposite side. So here you're just using the signs in front of them. And so for here I have negative 4, subtract 3, which is negative 7, plus 5, which is negative 2. Okay? Then I'm going to add 2. And I get 26x equals 182. Divide by 26. And x would be, did anyone divide? 7. Thank you. Now, this particular question, you guys, just asked for x. But do you understand if they would have said, like, what is the measure of angle RTS or something like that? We could put 7 back in there. Okay? All right. Now let's look at this one. This one's even easier. What do you guys think an easy way to do this would be?
Subtract 115, 105, and 60 from 360 to get your answer.
Yep. Or we could add these and subtract from 362, whichever way is easier for you. But you could do it Christian's way on a calculator. 360 minus 105 minus 60 minus 115. Or you could add those 3 together, which you would get 280, and then subtract that from 360. Did you guys get 80 as an answer? So x is 80. Okay? All right. Now this one we're skipping, but would you guys know just to add those and set it equals 180 again? Okay. Now, so what we are going to learn today is about different arcs in a circle. And again, arcs are like this right here, okay? We have minor arcs in a circle, we have major arcs in a circle, and we have semicircles, which is just half the circle, okay? So what we have to do is learn what is the difference between a minor arc and a major arc. A minor arc is always going to be less than half the circle, or less than 180, okay? Less than 180. A major arc is always going to be greater than 180. Now, another thing that is true about minor arcs is they can be named with 2 or 3 letters, whereas a major arc has to have 3 letters. So one way that helps us, we're going to have to say today whether something is minor or major. If anything has 2 letters for the name of the arc, it's automatically minor. If it has 3 letters, we're not sure, because it could be a minor arc, it could be a major arc, and a semicircle, I think you guys know, equals 180 and has to have 3 letters. So if it has 3 letters, it could be any of these. Okay? Then, if we look back over here, with the minor arc, I've talked about this already, whatever this angle is, is going to be what that arc is, okay? How do you think we'd find the rest of this? 360 minus 60. So that's how you'd find the rest of it, okay? In a major arc, what's gonna happen is you have to have 3 letters, okay? So let me see if you guys understand this. If I said find the measure of arc AB, do they mean the blue arc or the red arc? Blue. When it's 2 letters, it's the shortest distance between those. When they are giving you something like the measure of arc, they'd start at one of these endpoints, they'd give 1 point along the way, and then they'd stop at the other endpoint. So if they said measure of arc ADB, okay, do you guys agree for that one? They'd pretty much have to tell us this so we could find the rest, or vice versa, okay? So if that's 100, this would be 260, okay? So 3 letters, you can tell which arc it is because you're gonna start at A, make sure your arc goes through D and stops at B. When it has 2 letters, you go the smallest distance between the 2. Now, with a semicircle, again, we're dealing with half of a circle, okay? Semi means half. If I was to name this red arc, I would say measure of arc, I'd start at A, go through D to B, or I could say BDA, okay? And then that is always going to be 180. To name the blue arc, we can't name it the way it is because we don't have another point on here. But if they said, okay, this point right here is E, then they could ask us, what is the measure of arc AEB? Like this, okay? And that would be 180 also. Okay. All right, now let's go to this problem. So here's what they're telling us. They're saying WC is a radius of circle C. Okay, that's pretty obvious. And they say identify arc XZY. So this arc right here, is that major, minor, or semicircle? Semicircle, okay? If you want to just write semi for semicircle, I'm okay with that. Okay? Then it says, then find its measure. What would that be? 180. What if they asked you, so this is the measure of arc XZY. What if they asked you for the measure of arc WX? If that's 90, what's this? 90, right? Okay. And then what do you think the measure of arc WY would be? 90 also. Because if that's right, this is right. So then this would be 90. So this is 180. Those two are 90. Okay. All right. Then let's go on to the next question. And this is what a lot of your assignment, yeah.
If we have a question like that on homework, do we have to find every
Nope.
arc?
Nope, you only have to do these 2.
Okay.
Because they say just what they're asking for. They just want that arc and its measure. So I just said that, but no, you wouldn't have to. Now, this is what a lot of your assignment today is going to look like, okay? And what I suggest you guys do is don't look at any of the questions until you figure this whole thing out, okay? We're going to have to use vertical angles and linear pairs. Do you guys all remember what a vertical angle is?
Yes.
And they're equal, correct? So would you understand if this is 50 that that's going to be 50, right? So then this is 50 and this is 50, okay? If that's 30, this is 30. If that's 100, this is 100. could I find this angle right here?
Yes.
Because there's a straight line. And what about two angles in a straight line? Add up to, straight line adds up to 180. So if this is 50, wouldn't this be 130? Did you guys get that? And if that's 130, this is 130. So that's what I do first. Just go to my diagram and mark everything I know. Now I'm gonna come back over here, and this is asking us for two questions. One is it major, minor, or semi? And then the second is its measure, okay? If it has two letters, it's automatically what? Minor. So this one automatically is minor. And if I have to find EA, isn't that just 50? Okay. Then it asks me for DC. Again, two letters, so it has to be minor. And isn't DC 100? Okay. I'm going down out of order here. Number 5 is AB. Two letters, so it's minor, and that's 130. And then they ask us for CB, two letters, so it's minor. And CB is 50. Now this next one they're asking us for is DEB, okay? When it's DEB, you're gonna start at D. You have to go in the direction that you're gonna touch E, so that's this direction, and then you go until you get to B. So DEB. Is that one less than 180, greater than 180, or equal to 180? Greater, so it is major is greater than 180. Very good, major. Now, would you understand to do this, you could just add 30 plus 50 plus 130, okay? And that would be 180 plus 30, which is 210, okay? And then our last question is asking for CDA. So I'm gonna start at C, I have to go through D to A. Does that look like half the circle? So then, what is it called? Semi, and how many degrees?
180.
Very good. All right, let's look down here. This one is the same thing. So let's start looking at what could we pull out of this. So if this is 100, could I find this angle right there? Yeah, isn't this a straight line? So wouldn't this be 80? Everybody understand that? What kind of angles are this one and this one? Vertical, right? So if that's 80, this is 80, okay? Or I could have done a straight line again to do that. Now, when we go to find this angle, I would probably either go, you're gonna have to use this part here. Don't these three angles form a straight line? So they add up to 180. What's 50 plus 80? 130. So this would be 180 minus 130, which is 50 again. And that just happens that those two are the same. It's not always that way at all, okay? So now if I label what I know, if this is 50, this is 50, that's 80, 80. This is 100, this is 80, and this is 50. Now one thing I should have done today is I should have actually made copies, and if you guys wanted me to, super quick, I wonder if I should do that and then grab them when I'm done. Because it'd be easier for you guys to do this on paper than, so 9-2, I will print this.
Yes.
it? You put in a little bit. I don't know if you should go in there though, but maybe. All right. So like I said, I think this will be a lot easier if you have the actual paper copy. So now let's look over here, okay? It says the measure of arc AE, 2 letters, so it's minor, and then we know AE is 50. Then they ask us for EDC. So this has 3 letters, but it could be any of the 3, minor, major, or semi. Isn't this less than 180? So it's what? Minor. And 50 plus 80 is 130. So you can have 3 letters and it can be minor still. ABC starts here, goes around through B to C. Isn't that half the circle? So that's semi, and it's 180. This one is AB, 2 letters, so it's minor. And then that one's 80. ADC, is that half the circle again?
Yep.
So that's semi, 180. And then the last one asks us for just little BC here, which is minor and 100. Okay. Now, if we look at this page, we already have been doing this. This is what this says. First of all, if you had that these 2 minor arcs were equal, that would mean these 2 angles were equal and vice versa. So if these are equal, your arcs are equal. If your arcs are equal, your angles are equal. And then this we've already talked about. But if this was 30 and this was 20 and they wanted to do the whole arc, this is just saying you'd add those together. So that whole arc would be 50. Okay? Now, if we go here, we're gonna skip 6 and go to 7. Okay? So this one, we don't have to say what kind they are. We just have to find the measures of the angles. So, how would I find this angle, do you think? Oops. Anyone have an idea?
The angle to you,
Yes, right here.
it's already on a diameter, so you just subtract, it's like 140 from 80 to get 40.
You mean, are you using the
Sorry.
3?
Yeah, I'm looking at 3, sorry, you subtract
130?
130 from
Yeah.
140.
Okay, so you're using this diameter.
Yes.
You added together 40 plus 50, which is 130.
Yes.
And then to find this one, you went 180 minus 130,
Yes.
which is 50. Okay, so that's this. And actually, you know what, guys? That would have been a lot easier if I would have labeled this. Do you guys agree if this is 90, isn't that 90?
Yes.
So that would have been more obvious, right? And then wouldn't this be 90 and this be 90, right? So this is 40, this is 50, this is 40, this is 50, that's 90, and this is 90. Okay, so here we don't have to say what kind. The first question asks us to start at U, go through P to Q. Isn't that just 40 plus 90, which is 130? UTS. Start at U, go through T to S. That's 50 plus 40, which is 90. RSU. Start at R, go through S to U. So it's this. You're going to add 50 plus 40 plus 50, which is 140. Then PQS. Start here. Go through Q all the way to S right there. So you're gonna go 90 plus 90 plus 50, which is 180 plus 50, which is 230. Okay, then they ask us for PQR. P to Q to R, isn't that half a circle? So that's 180, okay? Then they ask us just for RS up here, that's easy, that's 50. STP, start at S, go through T to P. So you're gonna add 40 plus 50, which is 90, plus 40, which is 130. And then we are going to do PRU. So let's look at that one, PRU. You start here, go through R, all the way to U. Okay, isn't it the whole circle except for 40?
Yes.
So what could you do?
360 minus 40.
360 minus 40 would be your easiest way, and that's 320, or you could have added around, okay? Last page. So there, what we have talked about so far is the measure of the arc, okay, that's in degrees. What this is asking for the length of the arc. So the first way that is easier is measure, and it's in degrees. For length of an arc, we use this formula. Did I give you guys a new cheat sheet? Yes, okay. So this formula would be on there, okay? And here's what you would do on this one. When they ask you for the length of the arc, one of the hints that that's what you're doing is they would give you the radius or the diameter, sorry. Basically what you're doing, this right here is the formula for circumference of that circle. Here you're finding the fraction of that circumference. So the circumference is the whole thing. When we're finding part of it, we would take that length or that arc over 360 and find that proportion or ratio of it. So here's what we're gonna do. If we're finding LM, okay, if I go back over here, if this is 100, this is 100. So my angle is 100 over 360, okay? Then you go times 2 pi times the radius right here. Remember, if they give you the diameter, you have to divide by 2, but that would be my answer, or my equation. When you go to put that in your calculator, I believe, I guess for me, I would put the fraction in parentheses, but I don't think you have to. So 100 over 360 times 2 times pi times 5, and you're gonna get decimals for this. Did you guys get that? 8.73. And that is in inches. Okay. Now if we go down to C, we're looking for K, L, M. This is 60, this is 100, so that whole thing is 160 over 360, okay, and then it's 2 times pi times the radius. So what you would have to look here is DM a radius? And it is. If it said NL, where it's a diameter, then you'd have to divide by 2. So we would just multiply that by 9, and then you would punch that in. So you'd go parenthesis 160 divided by 360, parenthesis times 2 times pi times 9. Okay, did you guys get 25.13? And that would be in millimeters?
Yeah.
Okay, last one, they're looking for NJK. So that's this group here. How can I find that angle? I can add these and subtract from 180. This is 110. 180 minus 110 is 70. So this is 70, this is 50, this is 60. Oh, but I only want NJK. So I only want the 70 and the 50, which is 120 over 360 times 2 times pi times, is NL a diameter or a radius? So I have to divide by 2, and that's 6. Did anyone punch that in?
13.61.
Perfect. You guys all agree with that? We're gonna trust Christian on that. Okay, so I have that worksheet. I'll run super fast, and I'm praying, cross your fingers that it prints. I'll be right back.